Do you find that native English speakers talk really quickly? Like when you're watching TV shows or films, do you need to turn on the subtitles? But then when you turn on the subtitles, you realize, I understand all of the words here, but still, it sounds so fast. Let me tell you a secret. The problem is not your grammar or vocabulary. The problem is that you're hearing the weak forms of words. In this English pronunciation lesson, you're going to learn how to pronounce the weak forms of words in English so you can sound more natural and understand fast speech and native speakers better. Before we begin this lesson, I'd like you to answer these two questions. Do you feel scared when you speak in English? Or do you feel embarrassed when you speak in English? If you've answered yes and you have a fear of making mistakes when you speak English and this is holding you back from speaking English, then I have the solution for you that will transform you into a more confident English speaker. Taking one-to-one English lessons with a qualified and experienced English teacher. Preply makes it so easy for you to find your perfect English teacher, so you can save your valuable time and instead spend it in your lessons learning English. Your teacher will help you replace your fear of speaking in English with confidence. So you will be able to speak English confidently with your friends at university, in meetings at work, while traveling, or in your English exams. If you have a busy schedule and you find it difficult to find time to study English, then Preply will ensure that you stay consistent every single week so you see continuous improvement in your English. I'll give you 50% off your first English lesson on Preply if you use the code EMMA. To book your first lesson, just click the link in the description of this video. I also have a free bonus for you. You can get extra practice to help improve your pronunciation faster and remember everything from this lesson by downloading the free PDF lesson notes. You can share this free PDF with your teacher so you can get feedback and corrections on your pronunciation. Or, of course, you can use it to self-study. The link to download the free PDF is in the description of this video as well. So a big thank you to Preply for sponsoring this video. But besides sponsoring this video, I also use Preply as a student with my own money. And I take Spanish lessons every week. And I've seen so much improvement, not just in my Spanish, but just in my confidence to be able to throw myself into situations and speak Spanish. So it's been an amazing investment for me. So thank you, Preply, for sponsoring, but also thank you for providing such an amazing platform. Now let's start with today's pronunciation lesson. Let's start with the question, why does English sound so fast? The interesting thing is that English is actually one of the slowest spoken languages. So the thing that makes it sound fast is not the speed, it's the use of weak forms. English is a stress-timed language. This means that it follows a particular rhythm, where some words which are more important are pronounced more loudly and more clearly. However, some other words, which are the little grammatical words that aren't so important, are quicker, quieter, and weaker. Now, the words that we're going to focus on pronouncing today are and, to, for, of, a, and the. I'm pronouncing these words with the strong forms here, and here's why. When you say all of these words in isolation, or if you want to add emphasis to them in a sentence, then you use the strong forms. However, if you say these words in a sentence, you will usually use the weaker form. For example, this word is pronounced as and when you use the strong form, but you won't ever hear an English person saying fish and chips. It sounds unnatural and too robotic. What you will hear, however, is fish and chips. Fish and chips. So you use the weak form of these words when you say them in a sentence. As we're already talking about and, let's practice this one in a bit more detail. So the strong pronunciation is and, but the weak forms have two different pronunciations, un, or und. However, you'll more commonly hear people saying un, Listen carefully to these sentences and repeat. She bought some apples and oranges from the market. She bought some apples and oranges from the market. They laughed and talked all night. They laughed and talked all night. Or they laughed. They went shopping and then to a restaurant. They went shopping and then to a restaurant. Now let's look at to. The strong form is to with a long oo. However, the weak forms have two different options. You have to, which is like the strong form, but just with a slightly shorter vowel, and t. Typically, the to form is used when the next word starts with another vowel sound. For example, I want to eat. I want to eat. But t is used when the next word starts with a consonant sound. I want to go. I want to go. Let's practice that pronunciation of t a little bit more. I'm going to the shop. I'm going to the shop. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'm looking forward to the weekend. So again, remember not to use the oo here, the to pronunciation, and say something like, I want to talk to you. It's too strong. So we use t. I want to talk to you. Now let's look at for. For. So I'm not pronouncing that R at the end. This is very typical of most British English accents. American English would pronounce it like for. They would pronounce that R really strongly. But as this is a British English pronunciation video, we will follow that. So for. The weak version is f. So again, we don't pronounce that r. For, f. Listen to these sentences and repeat. This present is for you. This present is for you. I'm looking for my keys. I'm looking for my keys. I've lived in London for 3 years. I've lived in London for 3 years. Next, it's of. The strong form of this word is pronounced with a voiced sound at the end. So, of. Now, the weak form of this word actually has 3 possible ways. The first is of, with a slight vibration, of. The next is of, with a f, so there's no vibration there. And a. So you can say a piece of apple. We use of apple because the next word starts with a voiced sound. So you use the v one when the next word is voiced. However, you use the f one when the next word starts with a voiceless sound. So you can say a piece of cheese, a piece of cheese, or a piece of cheese. You've got 2 possible ways with that one. Using a also sounds a lot more informal, so just be mindful of that if you're speaking English in a more formal context. Here are some more sentences for you to practice, so listen carefully and repeat. We're going to practice both the of and the a forms. He's a good friend of mine. 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 A bottle of water, please. 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 Who's the manager of the company? 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 Now in this section, I just want to talk about a. I will leave an for another day. The strong form of this word is a, but the weak form is a. So if you want to sound more natural, don't say, I want a cup of tea. Say, I want a cup of tea. It sounds much more natural and it flows much more easily. Notice as well with these sentences that a and of are both pronounced the same way. They're both pronounced as a. This is where context is very, very important, because if you say these words in isolation or with no context, then we don't know which word you're trying to say. So if I say a tea, you don't know if I'm saying a tea or of tea. But if I say a cup of tea, then you know I'm talking about a tea. So if there's little or no context, or you're saying the words in isolation, always make sure you're using the strong forms. But in sentences, because these words are little unimportant words, you can use the weak forms. Now let's practice your pronunciation of that weak sound. Listen and repeat very carefully. There's a cat in the garden. There's a cat in the garden. May I borrow a pen? May I borrow a pen? There's a message for you. There's a message for you. As a side note, one of my biggest pet peeves is when I see videos of people teaching pronunciation and they say like a message, a cat, and it's like, no, we don't say that. You will never hear people saying there is a cat in the garden. No, there is a cat in the garden. So please, if you want to sound more natural in English, or if you have problems understanding fast speech and native speakers, then really focus on this. Make sure you're using that form, that weak form. The final word that you're going to learn how to pronounce is the. The strong form of this word is the with a long E, smiley E sound. There are two weak forms though. We have the, which is just a little bit shorter than the, and then we have the. We use the when the next word starts with a vowel sound after it. For example, the elephant, but we use the when the next word starts with a consonant sound after it. So, the table. Depending as well on the accent, there are some accents that just use the for everything, so they will say the elephant, the electricity, but it really does depend on the accent. If you're looking at the rules, the actual pronunciation rules, then you will see that it's the with a vowel sound and the when it's a consonant sound. Now you're going to practice your pronunciation of the. We're just going to focus on the with these sentences. So listen carefully and repeat. Pass me the book on the table. Pass me the book on the table. Or pass me the book. Can you see the dog? Can you see the dog? There's someone at the door. There's someone at the door. If you would like more sentences to help you learn how to pronounce the weak forms of words in English, then remember that your free PDF of the lesson notes and summary are waiting for you to download in the description of this video. You will get a summary of all the rules we have talked about in this video, as well as extra sentences for you to practice and repeat, so you can improve your English pronunciation. Your next step now is to book your first lesson on Preply using the link in the description. If it's your dream to speak English confidently and fluently, then personalized and consistent lessons with your Preply teacher will help you achieve your goal. Just remember to use the code Emma for 50% off your first English lesson on Preply. If you've watched this far, I would like you to leave a comment down below saying where you are watching this video from. Now, I know for sure that a lot of you are gonna be like, I'm watching this video from my toilet. But if you want to keep it clean, then write the country where you're watching this. So I'm watching this video from Spain. I'm watching this video from the UK. Okay? Let me know where you're watching this video in the comments. I know I'm gonna regret asking that question. Remember to give this video a like if you have enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you'd like more videos to help you improve your English pronunciation and listening skills. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson. Bye bye!